So the plan is to move the 3D printer, laser cutter, all that stuff out, move the desk back, and then we're gonna have this back wall with these panels that I got from Amazon. And I think they're gonna look pretty good, especially if we hit them with the light, different shadowing and stuff, and we'll get to it. So I got my desk all set up, the LEDs, everything like that. It did, like I said, push back with the back to it. It almost makes it this nice little room for me, so I can just kind of come in here and do what I need to do. I can still see the TV over there if I need to, but most importantly, I've got everything that I need here. Now, the wall is pretty good. Now, I did light it up, you know me. I tried quite a few different LEDs to figure out what would be bright enough in this case, because this is one of those where it's got to shine across the honeycomb and light it up really well. So it's got to be bright, like stinking bright. It worked out pretty good. So I've got 2 meters, 1 meter on each side, and it lights it up well. I've got a remote. It is app controlled as well if I need to, as well as different lighting modes, and it looks really good on camera. It lines up really nice. Kind of see some of the setup here. It lines up really nice. It lights up both sides, and it does add a nice effect without taking away too much from me. And I've also got my front camera light here, which shines down quite well to illuminate me. Currently I'm using the Sony a6000. I do have a 6500 on the way. I think that's going to work a little bit better. I don't need anything extreme, but those do work really well, especially with a good lens. Obviously, I am somewhat limited down here. The more space that I take up for studio, the less space I have for product, the less space I have for building lights and doing stuff like that. So it is nice to kind of separate this area from everything else that's going on, but at the same point, not taking away from the rest of the room. I do love the way that it turned out. I like the panels. One thing I will say about the panels, if you do go with anything like this plastic-wise, it is a dust magnet. So I did order some Swiffers and things like that. When I get ready to do a video, I can just wipe it all out real quick, and that should work pretty well. Now, as far as the LEDs go, one thing I had to be really careful about is that these strips are so stinking bright. As you can see, it is washing me out right now, and it makes the whole computer, especially if I do a blue, it just blues out the whole computer. I did create these little flat panels using corrugated plastic. It does a really good job at aiming that light across the honeycomb and not have it bounce back at the camera. That was something I kind of wound up figuring out that I needed. It looks really good on the camera. In person, it looks pretty good. You can see some of the cracks between the different panels, and you know, maybe a little bit more glue on the edges and things like that. It might have made it better. I'm happy. I'm very happy with it. I think it turned out great. I think it got the look that I wanted. Got rid of the 3D printers and stuff in the back that originally I thought would be pretty good, but I think it came to the realization if you're going to have something like that behind you, it's got to be like immaculate. And the resin printers are not clean. That resin gets on stuff and it don't want to come off, and there's no real way for me to have cleaned it up and made it look better. So this background I think is going to work better. Everything's hooked up, everything's running. I've tested it out pretty much all day today, and it's working great. So now with that, tons of stuff here, tons of plans of future videos, tons of stuff coming, especially now that I got this done. I do want to do a tour of the shop itself. I've had a lot of people ask. I think I've got it to the point where I'm happy enough to show it to other people. Obviously, it has been a long work in progress to get it to where it is now, dealing with a lot of space issues. I have got to maximize my space down here because it is only about 500 square feet, as well as additional storage upstairs, and you know, so I do have boxes and stuff all over the place. You can ask my wife. I thank you guys. I do appreciate everything you guys are doing on the channel. Following me, watching the videos, liking, subscribing, letting me know what you guys want to see. I do want to expand the channel beyond just automotive. I think you've probably noticed with the computer and things like that, I want to do LEDs. Primarily addressable LEDs. I feel like there's quite a market out there for addressable and not a whole ton of support. There's definitely some channels out there doing some really good stuff, but I want to add to that. So that's going to be, I think, a focus moving on. Obviously, cars will still be a very large part of that, but possibly some computers, possibly some really cool projects that might, you know, maybe something for around your house, something like that. Hopefully that's something you guys are interested in seeing. Let me know, write in the comments. I do appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe, like, Check out nextlevelneo.com for all of your LED lighting needs.